Up, beautiful people? Welcome to the Joy of Living with Dr. Joy. And today we have a wonderful guest, Adria Goldman Gross, who's going to share a little bit about herself and what she has to offer you. But before we get started, you know what we do on the Joy of Living show? We take 3 deep breaths. Are you ready? Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last one, inhale, exhale. How do you feel? I know I feel great. Adria, welcome to the Joy of Living with Dr. Joy. So I'm going to read a little bit about you and then you can add to it, okay?
Thank you.
So, Adria Goldman Gross. Having experienced serious medical conditions at a young age and having to deal with the ever-changing and confusing insurance industry, Adria pursued a career in medical insurance so she could help others navigate its confusing maze. Adria has over 30 years of experience in the insurance and advocacy field. She is the co-author of Solved, Curing Your Medical Insurance Problems, and Multi-Payer Medicine Nightmare Made in the USA, endorsed by Ralph Nader. Her book, Apparently Different, was published in June of 2024. That's very recent, so congratulations. So
Thank you.
if you want to share a little bit more about you, go right ahead. We have a couple of minutes for you to do that.
So I've been in the health insurance industry for almost 35 years. And I started out working at one insurance company for 2 years, and I went to another insurance company for 10 years. The insurance companies taught me how to deny claims within 2 weeks of employment. And after working for the two insurance companies, I opened up a medical billing business. And last 15 years, I am a national advocate. I help people throughout the United States. So I've been helping them now for 15 years. And the situations that come about is when they're denied, they're out of network, they're overcharged, you can't get pre-authorization. And believe it or not, what has been happening is there, out of all 50 states, there's only 12 states that will let you switch back to direct Medicare. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan and you wind up in a rehab, they throw you out. Sometimes now with AI, artificial intelligence, they'll throw you out within 3 days. Otherwise, you're thrown out within 2 to 4 weeks. And the thing is that the commercial insurers, what if you go direct Medicare, it's run by the government, but if you don't go to direct Medicare, it's run by the commercial insurers, and they don't want to pay for you, even if you're improving, and they throw you out. So
Wow.
I help people. There's even the states that allow you to switch over. People are in situations where they can't. It might have been their past employer where they only offer them the Medicare Advantage plans, and it's a lot less expensive, and 67% of our people have it. But the issue is that if you have it and you're thrown out of a rehab, I come in, I help. Even the judge says to me, where's the attorney? And I said, well, the attorneys come to me to handle it. So I do that. And then the other thing that I'm seeing is people have had a long-term care policy for a long time, and now they need it. And the insurance companies lost so much money on them that they don't want to pay out. So there's a lot of denials on those. And when I know that they meet the requirements or on that policy, I overturn the cases.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're not an attorney, but the attorneys come to you.
Right, right, right.
Okay. So in your newly released book, Apparently Different, and I'm putting it in quotes. I love that title, by the way. It discusses your personal journey with a major affliction and the society attitudes towards individuals with health challenges. What inspired you to share your story? And just share a little bit of it now with the viewers and listeners.
Okay, well, I published my first book, Solve Curing Your Medical Insurance Problems. That was 9 years ago. And Ralph Nader liked it so much, he won an international edition. After those books were published, I realized what it feels like to be rejected, because that's what happened to me at the age of 11 and a half. I was in school, I wasn't feeling well, and 11 and a half years old, I went into a coma, and the coma lasted for about 10 hours, but it left me with I had encephalitis, was an inflammation of the brain, and due to that, I lived with epilepsy for almost 25 years. I used to average 18 seizures a month, and at one point, I was taking 32 pills a day.
Ooh.
So, yeah, oh yeah. So I became ill. I lost many friends. They didn't know how to react, when someone has a seizure. So it's very difficult for people to live with a condition, where others feel uncomfortable to spend time with you. And you're the one who's sick. They're not sick. And they like, do I really want to be with you? And that's the attitude a lot of people have. That's the reason why I published, after I got the first two books out, that really my story's in there, but it guides people on what to do when they have problems with medical bills. But after that, I thought, okay, I need to get another book out. And I called it Apparently Different because I was apparently different for a long time in my life.
Mhm.
And then I had the brain surgery. I had left temporal lobectomy, and I've been seizure free ever since. And then all of a sudden, people
And
want to
when
be
did you
my
have
friend.
that surgery? How
I
long
had
ago?
a left temporal lobectomy.
How long ago?
I said to the doctor after I went to visit the neurosurgeon, and he's got a brain there on his desk, right? And he's got the parts of the brain. And I said to him, okay, show me what you took out. And I said to him, that's the size of a cooked knockwurst.
Wow.
It
Wow.
was a lot.
Okay. I can understand. And this is really a very poignant point because when people experience serious injuries, serious illness, it seems as though their quote unquote circle, and I say quote unquote because I do it in air quotes, that they just leave, and even some family members. So how did you deal with that mentally and emotionally?
I had a lot of therapy.
Yeah.
you know and I always prayed. I I even when I blew out my candles, even and when I was praying, in a church or a synagogue, I mean, I always prayed to be well, to no
Mhm.
longer have this condition. And I prayed a long time, and finally I received it.
So when did you have the surgery? How long ago?
It was in 1989.
Okay.
I lost my job in 88. I was working in the garment industry,
Mhm.
and I lost my job because they had me on Myceline and Tegretol, and I didn't even know when the phone was ringing until noon. I was able to get to work, but I wouldn't even know the phone's ringing. And then I told these guys before they hired me, I said, hey, I might be a candidate for epilepsy, for surgery. And they said, no problem, no problem. Well, you know what? I didn't know the phone was ringing. They said, bye-bye.
Oh,
It was
wow.
hard. It was hard, you
Oh,
know.
wow.
So
So
then after I had the brain surgery, it was like I felt like I was Sleeping Beauty coming out of her dream. And now I was on my way to a new life.
wow. So can you elaborate on the significance of empathy and compassion in your advocacy work within the medical insurance field? Is that a tricky
So,
question?
yeah, so, many people, they have a really difficult time when they experience rejection. I mean, it happened to me. And when you take a look at all the people who commit suicide due to
Mm,
rejection of society, I mean, listen, I never did it, and it was hard. But, I've seen so many suicides with children in schools. And it can even happen to other people. Like a lot of times when,
yeah.
I hate to say it, especially when a man loses his wife, more so than when a woman loses her husband, there's a lot of suicides out there because they feel that they can't live without their wives. Women deal with it better than men, but I do see a lot of that. And there has to be,
Why do you think that is that more men would commit suicide if they, through a divorce?
I think we're stronger. I think that we can deal things with better. In fact, there's a rare disease. Listen to this. There's a rare disease that when a man has that disease, he's being born, they
Mhm.
usually don't survive. The women survive that disease.
And what
And
is
they're born because they get the disease while they're still in their mummy's belly, right?
Mhm.
And it's a rare disease, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but men normally do not survive where women do, and they're born. So when I heard that one, I'm like, yes, that's what happens to women. We handle, I hate to say it, not all women, but many women handle situations better. And because of what I went through, because of the rejection where I lost my friends, I lost a lot of friends. People really need
You
to
lost
think of,
them? Wait, Adria, you lost them then, right?
yeah.
But where are they in? Did they try
So,
to
and
call?
apparently different. Listen to this, apparently different. I went back to even the woman who walked me down the hall when I first went into, I didn't, when I went in the coma, when I sat down, when I sat down, that's when I went into the coma. But she walked me down the hall, and believe it or not, she became a nurse. The husband, she's no longer works as a nurse, but her husband is a neurologist. Okay. And
Okay.
when she realized what happened when I got sick, and she walked me down the hall, and her parents told her not to be friends with me anymore. They said
Oh.
that to her. They said, "Stay away. Adria is not well." And now when I brought this to her attention, because I asked her to answer certain questions, I interviewed people I went to school with, who knew me a long time,
Mhm.
and she was very apologetic because she just
Yeah.
listened to her parents.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So you are the president of Medwise. That's your company. Can you
right.
elaborate on what Medwise does?
So what happened to me is after I had the brain surgery, my first job was working for an insurance company, and within 2 weeks, they taught me how to deny claims. And I worked there for 2 years. And I did training. This company was partly in New York, partly in Virginia, and I did training down in Virginia when everything, when they bought out. And then I worked for another insurance company. I worked for the first one for 2 years. The second one I worked for 10 years. And again, within 2 weeks, this is how you deny claims. But I have to tell you, what I learned is when those claims are denied, I learned how to twist them around and go after them. And that's what I gained from my second position, where I had three different positions at this second company I went to, but I worked there for 10 years and I learned so much. That's what has helped me to put my first book together, Solved Curing Your Medical Insurance Problems. And now, like even this book, I would say, the rejection that I lived through, this is more about relationships and just being good to people who have a condition.
So, in your opinion, what are some practical ways individuals and communities can cultivate empathy towards those facing with health challenges? Because there's a lot of people out there that are suffering.
Well, it's all about respect, and for the last 24 years, I can't believe it's 24 years already. I have volunteered for autism organizations, and believe it or not, a third of people who have autism also have epilepsy. I never knew that. I learned about it by reading about it. And autism is a really broad scope of severity. Some people have Asperger's, where other people, my dear friend, her son can't talk at all, and he's 29 years old.
I have a friend that has a son that does
Yeah.
communicate orally. Yeah.
So there's different levels of autism, and as for myself, everybody out there should feel good when helping others who have a condition.
But how do you get those people to not be afraid to help those that are in need? So, in your condition, right, when you had your situation way back, what advice would you give those people that shied away from you?
I'm going to write another book. It's going to be apparently different for kids.
Oh,
And kids Kids need to know early. Some like I've spoken to, educators, and really in the third grade, that's when they absorb so much. So I'm trying to put another book together, apparently different for kids, really for third graders, aiming at them, and telling them and having them learn at a young age, don't be scared, don't be frightened, you know. Look, I had grand mal and I would fall on the ground and my body would shake, Um, and there are people out there who really know how to deal with this. And when you're a parent, and let's say you're walking with your child and you see this, you as a parent have to teach your children not to be scared. Maybe if the child has to call someone for help, that's great. But do not show your child that you're frightened about this at all. You have to be strong. You have to be there. I mean, you have to put yourself in the position of these people who
Mhm.
have a condition. You know, you have to understand
That's
how
it.
they feel. Right.
That's it. And people, a lot of times people don't have time, or they're too self-absorbed with
Right.
whatever is going on in their life. But
Right.
your experiences highlight the importance of respecting individuals regardless of their health conditions, right? So now,
Right.
what advice would you give someone struggling to find acceptance or understanding in their own journey?
Well, when you see someone who has a condition, I just beg people, please, please do not reject them. That's what happened to me. And it was very painful, you know. And there's no reason to be frightened of your relationship with someone who has a disability. There's no cause. They're humans just like you. And you have to think about them and be considerate how you would feel uh, if someone decided to reject you from their lives due to your condition. You
Right.
have to get that up here to understand how that person's going to feel.
But now, and I get that, it's the empathy advice for people that are around the person that's going through the challenge. What advice do you have for the person that's going through the challenge?
You have to pray. You have to pray. And what I've said to people is, hey, look, I was blessed. That surgery that I had started in Canada. And when I was 20 years old, my mother met somebody who went through the surgery. And um, and if she approached my doctor, and the doctor said to her, if she has that surgery now, she could turn into a vegetable. But then 20, about 10 to 12 years later, they started doing it here in the United States. And he's the one who even recommended I go for it. So, like I said, I prayed a lot, you know, and we never know what's around the corner to improve our health in the future. We don't know.
Mhm.
Things are changing all the time. So I do believe in praying. Not that I say
Good.
that you have to do it, but there's always hope. There's always hope. And I always tell people, try to look at the bright side of things. When I first got sick, I was at New York University Hospital. And they at first they thought I had a brain tumor at the age of 11 and a half, but I didn't. It was an inflammation of the brain, which caused the problem, encephalitis. And I'll never forget my mom, and we're going back to 1965 when this happened. And my mom walked down the hall and she met this woman who was about 17 years old who had open heart surgery.
Oh, wow.
And my mom said to me then, just remember one thing, there's always someone out there who has it worse than you. You
That is
know,
true. That is so true with everything. Like, comparison is the root of unhappiness. It starts there. So if I tell people when I coach them, right? I coach people and they're doing a lot of comparison. I said, you know what? What I want you to focus on are your strengths, right? Your strengths, your individual strengths, not someone else's, because no matter where you are and I'll say where you are in life, you're kind of always in the middle, because
right.
there's always somebody that's taller than you, shorter than you, runs faster than you, doesn't run as fast as you, that gets those math problems better than you or not, writes
Right,
better than you or doesn't,
right.
travels more than you or doesn't, So if we take comparison or the word compare out of our vocabulary, and it's very in today's society, it's really tough because we have all those social media outlets, right? So we're looking at social media, not really recognizing that social media is just what's shown on there is a microcosm, in most cases, a microcosm of someone's life, right?
Right.
So you're absolutely right. So when your mom told you that, obviously that's stuck in your head, not to always pray. It's prayer to your higher power and also gratitude. Those two things.
Absolutely.
Fine.
Absolutely. Yep. You got to think to yourself. I always think about this. We all have some type of happiness of what's happening outside. I mean, we have rough times, we got bad times, but there's always something there that you can think of that you should be happy that you have. And you have to think about that, focus on that. Don't focus on the negative. Think about all those positive things that you have in your life.
Right, right, because it could be worse. And
Right.
if there's a problem and you're frustrated, that's good that you're frustrated because then that will give you the gumption to find a solution to get unstuck, right? So,
Right.
looking ahead, what are your hopes for the future in terms of promoting a more compassionate and inclusive society for all individuals, regardless of their differences?
And we really have to think about how we would feel if you were being rejected. Don't be frightened or scared when you would not know how to react if something happens. You got to be open, um, and think about the respect that everybody deserves. And please, please, please remember the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Well, how about treat others the way they want to be treated?
Well, you may, but it's how you want people to be nice to you.
That's
And
true.
yeah, you want people to be nice to you. And you have to be nice to them
That's right.
for them to be nice to you.
Exactly. It because it
Right,
goes round and round like a
right,
circle.
right, right.
But here's the thing, and in one of the coaching sessions that I had, because I do group coaching, one client mentioned that none of her friends really talked to her anymore ever since the situation happened. And someone else chimed in and said, well, maybe they don't know what they should say to you. So I'm asking you, if a situation occurs, and what should someone say to that person that's going through the challenge?
Well, first of all, as I said before, I mean, everything in the mind has to be positive. You have to think positive. And
Yeah.
as for that person who's treating you that way, you have to tell them that you do not like to be treated that way. You have to. I mean, it's hard at times. People might be scared, thinking, oh my God, I won't have this friend anymore. But you know what? Just be kind and tell them how you feel and say, how would you feel if this happened to you?
Mm,
That's what, listen, when I call the insurance companies and they're denying, and they don't want to, do the right thing, even though legally they have to. And I
right,
do go to the media at times when I have to. I
right.
say to them, if this was your child and you were experiencing what this person has gone through, how would you feel? I really, because we're only a number. In their eyes, we are just a number, you know.
Right.
But you have to tell them, hey, I'm a human just like you, and I shouldn't be treated this way, and just be nice about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is, and I can imagine that could be difficult at times because everyone, like I said before, everyone puts their life first. They don't think about the person that's experiencing the challenge. So you did allude earlier in our discussion that you were writing a book for children. How's that coming along?
I'm really only starting. I'm hoping within a year, but they just need to learn at a young age what kindness, um, really just kindness. And to be nice to each other. I'll share one thing with you. Someone who's in my book, she's been blind since birth. She had too much oxygen. It burned her eyes. She's never been able to see, and she'll never be able to see. And I said to my children when they were growing up, I said, look, close your eyes. Okay. And that person who you're talking to, you don't see them. You can't see them because you're blind. You have to listen to them and think about how they feel and what they're saying to you. It's always, when I look at people, it's always the interior. It's not the exterior, and I think that that's more important than anything else.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So how can people contact you and learn more?
Well, my phone number, write it down, 845-978 9493. You can always leave me a message. Again, that's 845-978 9493. And my website is www.medicalinsurancedvocacy.com. Again, www.medicalinsurancedvocacy.com. I have to tell you, I always give free information. If people want to hire me, I'm here to help you.
Oh, boy. All right, Adria, thank you so much for being a guest on The Joy of Living with Dr. Joy. And here's what I want you to do. If you have time, I would like to invite you to be a returning guest once the children's book is published, and we can spend a whole segment just talking about your children's book.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's one of possible 3 more books to come.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got
Yeah.
I got plenty of ideas up here.
So one for the children, one for people in general, maybe one for parents.
No, I've had a crazy life, so I'm going to write about that.
Oh,
Someone wants to write a memoir about me because oh my God, what I lived through and all those seizures and even being pulled up from the train tracks in New York City. And
what?
oh yeah, I mean, the stories go on and on and on. And it was really very difficult. So, that's why a memoir, people are recommending a memoir. My life's even recommended for a movie. But I'll tell you, after this last book came out, apparently different, not just about me. It's not about me. It's about everybody.
It's
You
about
know,
everybody. That's
it's
right.
about everybody. And if they want to do a movie, I need a series. I need a series of people in my book.
Hey, well, you never know.
That's
But
right.
what I will tell you is this, it is your story, right? And thank God that you are willing to share it with others, because I have this thing called shattered glass impact, and your story fits into that because you're sharing it with others, and other people will be able to learn from what you have to say and your advice. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for being on The Joy of Living with Dr. Joy. Until next time, be blessed, stay healthy. See ya. Let's see.